Hey everybody, I am here with my new friend, Chet, Jack. Oh, sorry, I always turn it the wrong way. And Chet knows everything about the Convention of States, which is something that I'm just learning about. So I'm going to interview him and ask him some questions about how can we, the people, get involved in the Convention of States. So how can we do it? What is the role of the American people when it comes to the Convention?
Well, actually, that's a very appropriate question for today, because we happen to be sitting here in Cranberry Township, and we're at a community festival, and I've set up a booth here. And the reason that we set that booth up here is that we would like people to sign our petition, showing that they support the Convention of States. Right now, we have 19 states that have passed it already, and we're working on getting Pennsylvania passed. And so, in order to get it through our legislature, we need to lobby our legislators and explain the merits of it to them. And what we accomplish by getting lots of petition signatures are that, let's say that in this district, I had 1,000 people that signed that petition. Whenever I go and sit down with the legislator, they might be polite and just willing to let me talk to them about Convention of States, but maybe really not all that interested. Whenever I pull out a list of 1,000 of their constituents that have signed our petition, all of a sudden they start paying attention. And so that's how we drive it. Now, whenever you sign that petition, you have the opportunity to check a box on there that says whether or not you want to volunteer. And we have a lot of different opportunities for volunteering, and it can be as much or as little time as you want. But if you check that box, we will have someone give you a call, and we'll get in contact with you, and they will give you more information about the Convention of States and how you can become involved with it and help us save this republic.
So what I'm hearing from you, Chet, is that we, the people, have a role to play.
Absolutely.
And you really need our help. So if a volunteer should come with a petition, it really behooves us to check it out and to sign it, because it will be seen by a politician who can actually do something about it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. What the Convention of States' primary mission is to grow the largest grassroots organization in the country of people who are interested in self-governance. And that's the key, self-governance.
Yes.
That's flipping the script. That's taking power away from Washington and bringing it back closer to people where it belongs.
So I'm wondering, can Convention of States actually affect things like tax rates and, obviously laws, but
pretty much,
anything?
Pretty much anything can be proposed. There literally have been hundreds of different topics that have been proposed. The important thing is that whenever you're getting your 34 states that you need to get to a convention, you have to have an agreed upon subject, because we don't want to have a situation where things run away. And so there's law on the books that says that that it has to be the same subject. So, for example, the three subjects that we're looking at now, one are term limits, the second one is fiscal responsibility, and the third one is ruling in the jurisdictional scope of the federal government. It's gone out of hands.
You're right about that.
Whenever the framers of the Constitution were having their debates at the initial Constitutional Convention, they'd gotten most of the way through the process, and George Mason stood up and he said, "Gentlemen, we've forgotten something." Now, mind you, these were people who had just fought a war against tyranny, against the most powerful force, military force in the entire world, and they had forgotten that once government gets power, it doesn't give it back.
That's right.
And so they gave the states the ability to propose constitutional amendments and pass them, so that they could reel the federal government back in. So that's what it's all about. Let me show you one more thing.
Great.
I'm going to pull a couple of books over here. All right. The first one I'm going to hold up in front of the camera this is the Pocket Constitution. Mm-hmm. And whenever I speak to people, I ask them, I say, is this the law of the land? Is this what we live by? And invariably they say, yes, it is. They're wrong. Because what we live under is the Constitution plus all the court rulings that have affected the Constitution. And some of those are very bad rulings. And so this is actually what we live under now. This book called the Constitution of the United States, Interpretation and Analysis. This is this version is 20 some years old. I think it's 2002 this is on. So this one weighs 13.5 pounds. Okay, there's been 20 some addendums to it since then. So if I got the current one, it would probably be about that wide and a couple of pounds heavier. Okay, and that's what we got.
This is our real Constitution. That's what you're saying. This is what we're living under right now. Is this big book?
This is what we live under. Nobody knows that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, you learn a new thing every day.
You guys, I am shocked. I'm sorry, I am shocked. But you know what? It makes sense to me because there was a time not too long ago when I was in a courtroom covering a story, one of my friends, and he pulled up the pocket Constitution, and the judge said the Constitution has no place in my courtroom. Is that what he meant by that?
Well,
does that make sense to you?
Well, I think that what that judge probably was a believer in what they call the living Constitution. Where you change
the one
it.
You can change it, Will.
Yeah, and that's the whole problem is they change the meaning of words and things like that, and then you get these judicial judgments that get handed down, and they basically change the way that we operate. If you did two very simple things, if you took a look at the Commerce Clause and clarified some of the terminology in it so that it reflected the meaning of the words when the Constitution was written, and you did something similar with the Commerce Clause, that big book that I showed you, you can make a lot of that go away just doing those two things. And that's why it's very important that we get a convention of the states called.
So is this what you're doing? Is trying to bring us back to the actual meaning of the true Constitution?
Absolutely.
And make us we the people again instead of we the corporation. Do you have something to do with that?
That's exactly what we're doing. And we're trying to save this republic. Because, ladies and gentlemen, right now, we are on the verge of losing it. We can't let that happen on our watch. So I hope that you join me. Take a look online at conventionofstates.com. You can sign a petition right there. And if you're so inclined, if you have some time to volunteer, check that volunteer box and we'll have somebody get a hold of you and we'll get you involved in the movement and you will help save this republic. And at the end of your days, you look in your grandchildren in the face, you'll know that you helped preserve this republic for them.
So can anybody do this from anywhere, any state?
Any state.
Okay. Because you said some states belong, but others don't.
So, no, we are in all 50 states.
Okay, good.
This movement is going there. 19 of the states have already passed their resolutions in both their House and their Senate.
That's what you said about 19. Okay.
Once we get to 34, we can call the convention, and then those three subject matters that I mentioned before. And once again, there are term limits, fiscal responsibility, and the size and scope or the jurisdictional reach of the government. We can start making amendments to address those topics, and then hopefully get some of those passed in the convention and get them ratified. And that'll take us a long way towards solving our problems. Our current president's doing a great job with executive orders, but there's one problem with executive orders. Next time, next administration that comes in, with the stroke of a pen, they can make that go away. This is a permanent solution.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem that we face, because what we saw during the last election turned everything on its head, and we learned that everything that we can do to make our world better can be changed overnight, which is really disturbing. So I love what Chet is explaining to us here, because we do need to take our country back, and that means we make the decisions, not named politicians with agendas that don't have anything to do with making America great or safe, right? I mean, our safety is really at risk right now, mostly.
Let's pull together and do it. Yeah. Let's do it for the people who risk all to gift us this republic. Let's do it for every person who has fought for this republic. let's do it for the future generations, for our kids and grandkids, so that they can grow up in a free society like we did. And quite frankly, let's do it for ourselves. Join us.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so one more question. When did all this start?
We've been working on this for approximately 10 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a heavy lift and it takes a very long time.
I'll bet.
But as you'll find, change in politics, people get involved in politics and they get riled up and they think, I'm going to go make all these changes. It doesn't work that way. It takes persistence.
Bureaucracy is tough.
Yeah, it takes persistence, and never giving up.
Yeah.
And we've had people that have been fighting this for 10 years, and we're getting over the hump. And now I'm starting to see momentum really building. And I even saw the other day that people are starting to suggest to Elon Musk that he get behind us and help with this as well.
That would be helpful.
And we do have a number of people in the Trump administration who are already behind the Convention of States, who have endorsed us. And a lot of other prominent figures as well.
So what I'm hearing about this is that the Convention of States is starting to gain momentum. And it's videos like these that are going to bring attention to what Chet and many others like him are trying to do in bringing our country back to being ruled from we the people and not these politicians who quite frankly have a different agenda for our country, which is nothing to destroy it. And they've been trying to destroy our country since its founding. So it really behooves us to get behind a movement like this, where it is in our hands, because there are many more of us than there are of them.
We were asleep for a very long time, but the events of the last few years have woken us up. We started understanding the truth, and not everything was the way that we thought it was. So we're no longer ignorant. And so now it's a prime opportunity to get people to band together and get this thing done.
And with knowledge like this comes great responsibility. Because when you know what you could do to help and you don't do it, that's called apathy. And that's how we started to lose our country in the first place. You can no longer be apathetic in America. If you love this country and you believe in its ideals and its morals, and most of all, its very important and special Constitution, then I think you need to get behind this movement. I know that I'm going to do everything I can to help you, Chet, in making people know about this and get involved. You can't just sit back and expect things to work out. It just doesn't work out that way. Although we do know God is in control, but He also wants us to do our part too. All right, I'm going to let you say your last words, Chet. What do you need everyone to know?
Well, I've already told you about the Convention of States website. It's conventionofstates.com. Please visit there. There's a little video that will give more information, and there's a petition there. Please sign the petition, regardless of whether or not you have time to volunteer. That helps. That whenever I'm just, if you sign the petition, there will be someone in your district that's sitting in an office that has one more petition to show that rep. And that's just that incrementally a little bit more that rep's going to listen. And the other thing I'd like to say is I'd like to thank Jill for traveling all the way up here from sunny Florida to Pennsylvania to our small town and visiting us at this festival so that I had the opportunity to talk to you about Convention of States. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're so welcome, Chet, because you know what? He works in very mysterious ways. And I think sometimes he tells me where to go and what to do, and I believe this is kind of one of my missions that I need to be on, because I want nothing more than to save my amazing country from people who would want to destroy it.
Amen.
So I thank you for all the work that you're doing, and I hope that a lot of people learn about this. So if you guys are watching this video, I'm going to ask you, please share it everywhere, okay? Everybody needs to do their part to make sure that this country just does make it into the future for our children, our grandchildren, and like Chet said, ourselves. All right, I'm going to say thanks again, Chet, for your information, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And see you guys later on the next Beach Report.
Y'all stay frosty.
Stay frosty.